Hey, welcome to the Pretzel Bell. I'm Michael Spath, the editor of WolverineDigest.com. This is Brandon Brown, the content manager and beat writer for Michigan football for WolverineDigest.com. We are live at the Pretzel Bell, where we will be giving you our over and under for Michigan football tomorrow against Army. And for that, I let Brandon take over.
Yeah, so last week we did some of these. It's always fun to look at what's going to happen, try to make some predictions. They're pretty specific, and some last week we got a couple right, we got a couple wrong, but it's going to be an interesting way to look at what might play out in the game. So this is actually a repeat from last week, and I think it's worth revisiting because I think Shea Patterson got a little dinged up, and that affected how the rest of the game went. But over under Shea Patterson 220 yards passing.
Well, he had 203 yards passing last week in mostly a first half of play. Army is not going to be a team that gets blown out not like Middle Tennessee did. But certainly the game got away from them. Now I do think they're going to split quarterback reps again. I think we're going to see Dylan McCaffrey. But I do think that Michigan is going to embrace their speed and space and embrace their up-tempo and embrace their spread offense. I think over. I think Shea Patterson gets more than 220 yards.
He had 197 in the first half last week, and I thought he was going to blow that 220 away. Got a little hurt. Dylan McCaffrey played, so he ended up finishing, like you said, with just 203. I'm going to take the over, too. I think if they want to do this speed and space thing and really get the receivers involved, he's got to wing it around a little bit. So that'll lead us right into the next one. Dylan McCaffrey over under 7.5 carries. I believe he had 8 last week or 9.
He did have 8 carries, though 3 of those came on quarterback scrambles.
Okay.
Not designed plays. He felt the rush when he was in there. He actually played about 20 snaps at quarterback last week. So over under on 7.5 carries. Boy, that's a really tough one. I guess I'm going to take the slight under.
Okay.
I think he gets in there to be a change of pace back, but I think what we might see is more of Dylan McCaffrey throwing the football than we did a week ago. I think they want to establish that he's not just a runner. He played, I think it was 15 plays. He threw the ball twice on those 15 plays that he was in the game as a quarterback. So I think it's going to be the under on 7.5 carries.
I'll take the under as well. I think he took a couple shots last week. Also, you don't really like to see that in the first game. He fumbled once. I just think he's gonna be called upon to do some things this year, and you hope it doesn't get to the point where he has to come in and play for an injured Shea Patterson. But if that happens, you're not going to want his first pass or his first meaningful passes to be in that situation. So drop back, throw it a little bit, run it, hand off, do the zone read stuff. I think it'll be, and it might be right around there. Maybe it's 6 or 7 carries. Maybe he gets to 8 or 9 if there's some scrambles again, but I'll go with the under as well. Sticking to running the ball. Zach Charbonnet, I think, emerged as the best running back all around on the team with his 9 for 9 pass protection blitz pickups.
I don't think he pissed himself. So
I don't think he pissed himself either.
That'd be bad.
That's an interesting slip of the tongue. He didn't get to 100 yards. He was very close. He had 90. He had a 41-yard run late in the game. Zach Charbonnet over under 99.5 yards. So does he eclipse 100 yards, essentially?
I'm going to take the under. I think now that teams know him a little bit, they're going to be geared up for him. I think Army's a very good front seven. Part of it is that they stay off the field. The Army offensive attack averages, a year ago, 38.5 minutes of time possession. And so I just don't think Zach Charbonnet is going to get as many opportunities. He might have more carries, but he's not going to be on the field as much to have that big play. I don't think he gets a play. Last week he had one of 41 yards. I don't think he gets one more than maybe like 20, 25 yards. I think that's going to limit him a little bit. Michigan still wants to use Christian Turner. They still want to use Ben Van Sumeren. They still want to use True Wilson. They still want to use Hassan Haskins. And then Dylan McCaffrey and Shea Patterson are going to run the football. So I'm going to take the under on that one. I think it gets north of 75 yards, but somewhere closer to like the 80-yard range.
I'll take the under as well. I mean, thinking about, if you take away, this is a stat I hate, and I think I've given you crap about it over the last week. If you take away the 41-yard run, well, you can't. He had it, but if you do, it's a pretty pedestrian day. 49 yards. On 7 carries, so he's averaging a lot per carry, but it wouldn't have been nowhere near 100 yards if you take that away. He did have the 41-yarder. He earned it, but I think, like you said, mentioning the other 4 guys that are going to be in the mix, then you throw in the quarterbacks as well. I will take the under. I'm just realizing we did 4 offensive ones.
Well, this one,
defense.
Defensive one, here you go. I like this one, actually. Josh Ross, the junior middle linebacker for Michigan, 9.5 tackles. Will he have more than that, or will he have under that against Army here this week?
I think over. We've heard about how the way that the offensive line blocks for Army essentially clears the defensive lineman out of the play. That's their goal anyway. That's what they want to do. It's up to Michigan's guys to fight through those blocks and make some tackles, the defensive linemen. But that means the linebackers are going to be free to make a lot of tackles, and they're going to have to. So between Ross, maybe it's Josh Uche this week. I mean, how will they use him? Maybe it's Khalid Hudson, but I singled out Josh Ross as a smart, disciplined player to make 10 tackles. I think 10 or 11 tackles in the game.
Well, I think our colleague on Inside the Huddle, Zach Shaw, mentioned that Oklahoma last year, their middle linebacker had 23 tackles in the game. 23 tackles in the game. There's a lot of opportunities for your linebackers in this one to clean up, to get the stops after 2 or 3 yards against Army. They're gonna, they take out the defensive linemen. They do cut blocks. They do dive blocks. Those defensive linemen, they're trying to get them off balance. They're trying to get them on the ground, and that allows for the linebackers to really. I mean, think about this: in a normal game, a defensive line might make like 20 of the tackles, 25 of the tackles. Now, almost 3/4 of those tackles become linebacker tackles, and so that's something that they usually clean up and get those. So I will take Josh Ross the over on tackles at 9.5, and that brings us to our final over/under as we are at the Pretzel Bell, which you can come and hang out at on the corner of Liberty and Main in downtown Ann Arbor. Great place to watch the Michigan games when you can't be at the big house, but it's a great place to watch all of the other games going on. And we'll show you a little glimpse of this downtown bar here in just a second. But that final over/under for the Michigan Army game is the Army time of possession of 33 minutes.
What was the number? You said it on the radio earlier today. They average...
Last year they averaged 38 minutes per game. 38, 33.
That's a lot.
Last week they were at 34 minutes.
Okay, that's
Rice.
the number I heard was 34, I think, against Rice. I think
against Oklahoma a year ago when they almost upset them, it was 44 minutes.
Yeah, that's insane.
The ball.
I think it's going to be over. If it's not, that means Michigan is blowing their doors off, I think, because that means they're getting them off the field quickly over and over and over. I mean, the way that their offense works, they're not going to snap it quickly. They're going to huddle, and they're going to run. So the clock's not going to stop moving. I think Michigan's going to win by quite a bit. I have them picked to cover the spread, but I do think it's going to be the over. I think they're going to have it for more than 33 minutes.
And I'm going to take the over also, and the reason I'm taking it is because I think Michigan's quick strike offense.
Yeah, that lends itself
they had
to that too.
5 touchdown drives last week against Middle Tennessee. On 3 of those 5, they had a big play of 20 yards or more. Mm-hmm. They scored on a 36-yard touchdown. They scored on a pair of 28-yard touchdown passes to Nico Collins and Sean McCune. I think they're a big play offense now. They had 5 plays of 20 yards or more a week ago. I think they could have 7 or 8 plays of 20 yards or more in this game against Army. And if they are a quick strike offense, they're not going to consume the ball for 6, 7, 8 minutes. I think Michigan will score most of the time in under 4 minutes. And because of that, it plays in Army's hands a little bit too.
Right.
I do think that Michigan's defense does a good job in this game and gets off the field sooner than 7, 8 minute, 9 minute drives that Army loves. But I could see Army finishing with time of possession just because Michigan is scoring quickly, and then that's just the way that Army does things. They're going to go for a lot of 4th downs.
Yeah.
Last year on 4th and 1, they went for it on 23 of 25 4th and 1s. They went for an addition 5 times on 4th and 2. Then it starts to fall off after that. So they're going to go for it on 4th and down. They're going to use all 4 downs to keep that possession alive for Army.
That also adds to it. I mean, that's essentially an extra chunk of time that other teams don't ever have. So, man, 44 minutes against Oklahoma, that's crazy.
That was our over/under. We are at the Pretzel Bell. We'll be hanging out there after the game on Saturday. If you want to come out and join us, I was Michael Spath. This is Brandon Brown from Wolverine Digest. Check us out after the game. We'll have some quick reactions of Michigan's, hopefully win.
Hopefully we'll be talking about
the Army Black Knights. Thanks, everyone.